program by this station is not an endorsement or recommendation by the station of the products or services discussed in the program. The station does not guarantee the results of any investments made by a listener to this program.
All right. I think he's ready to go. He was trying to get to a quiet spot, so I think we're good.
Law.
Well, that's good.
Gary is a San Diego financial solutions attorney, protecting people like you. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. Now, here.
You are live.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Word on Wealth. Today is a very special day because it is Finding Joy Friday on the Word on Wealth. We talk about wealth, which is the state of enoughness. And we do it today without a dollar sign in front of it. Monday through Thursday, we are talking about money, finances, real estate, taxes, estate planning, all that. And then on our Fridays, we have dedicated this 100% to Finding Joy Friday. And to make it awesome, we have a very special guest with us on the show today. This is there's this very special organization called the Rising Tide Ranch. It is run by owners Buck and Tara Chavarria, and we have Buck with us in the air with us today. Buck, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Gary?
Good. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this. I know you got a lot going on, but it's really kind of cool to have the opportunity to kind of introduce you to our listeners and, to everybody that's listening on our 4 stations that we're running on simulcast. So this is really, really cool. I think this is going to be a great time.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having us. I mean, what an incredible show you have, but also just able to meet with you on a Friday is a great way to wrap up my afternoon.
That's true, huh? That's why we have this, we call it Finding Joy Friday. It's always been kind of a kick for us. So I want to start out and I want you to tell us just kind of your overall, like, what's cool about Rising Tide Ranch. I mean, I understand, it's a Christ-centered, men-only sober living ranch. So I want you to tell us a little bit about that. Kind of tell us, how it came about. What do you do? And what are things like at the Rising Tide Ranch?
Yeah, great. Well, like you said, Rising Tide Ranch is fairly new to the scene. It's just under 3 years old. It's here in Vista, California. And Rising Tide Ranch, like you said, is a Christ-centered men's-only sober living. And really what's different is we place a huge emphasis on community. Because it's a ranch or a small farm. Ranch is a loose term. It's 5 acres with a small farm. We've got, chickens, pigs, and goats, and horse, that kind of thing. But we're also growing some food out here. So it's a small 5-acre farm. We've got an emphasis on agriculture and action sports. We've got an empty drained swimming pool in the backyard. A lot of our guys come from the surf culture or the skate culture. And really it's about, I think what makes us different is there's a huge emphasis on community and fellowship.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Now
that's really what we're about.
Is part of because you have the ranch and the farm going there, is that part of the kind of the operation of the ranch and farm? Is that part of kind of the sober living, the rehabilitation aspect of the Rising Tide Ranch?
Sure, absolutely. I think guys, whether they're coming out of a treatment center or coming out of incarceration or just any part of addiction, having a place where you connect with nature, connect with an animal, or just having a peaceful setting, I think is really huge. So guys, we rotate. We all have like a small ranch chore where guys will learn to take care of an animal or learn to water some plants or tend to the garden, as well as, part of reintegrating into their life and their sober living and working on their recovery and their program.
Let me ask you this, Buck, then, and you guys, we're talking to Buck Chavarria. He's the owner with his wife, Tara, of Rising Tide Ranch in Vista. It's a Christ-centered, men-only sober living ranch and farm, and we are learning all about him today, and we're just thrilled to have him with us on the show. Buck, I want to ask basically, it is like, how does somebody actually get to Rising Tide Ranch? I mean, did they call you up and say, hey, I need to be at the ranch? Are they assigned there by the courts? Is it something like, okay, you got to get your life in order to go find a place? How do people get to the ranch? In other words, how are they like able to be admitted or allowed on or check in?
Yeah, I think so many times the best way is usually word of mouth. People find us through, hey, they're reaching out and family or friend comes around them. A lot of people find us through just Google. You can look us up at risingtideranchca.com, or you can either Google sober livings in North County or Vista, California. And so we have partnerships with a lot of treatment centers. And so their discharge coordinators will say, hey, if you've gone through this treatment, here's a great place for you to go for secondary care.
Okay.
And then, obviously word of mouth or churches are a great place.
Okay. So that makes sense. So somebody's in a residential treatment center. That's sometimes where they could actually be kind of ordered to go to by a judge or something to do, residential treatment. Once they get through with residential treatment, you have now phase 2, and that could potentially be Rising Tide Ranch, where you kind of take them from post-residential treatment, sober living, and then get them back. And is the goal then to get them fully integrated and off the ranch, or can they live there as long as they want?
Absolutely. Great question. Guys can stay. We tell anybody can stay for as long as they need to heal, for as long or as short as they need to heal. But our goal is when you come through our community, by the time you leave, you'll be ready to be out on your own fully, and stay as long as you need to. But remember, there's somebody out there that may need your bed. So guys understand that their bed is super important to them, and they're going to leave it better even for the next guy.
Interesting. I love that. That's really terrific. It's just I think, and one of the things I want to get into a little bit about, there are some common misperceptions about people that, that have drug abuse issues or they're homeless. And then there's just really, like right now, there's just so much in the news that's really not quite accurate about, homelessness, drug abuse treatment programs, and things like that. I want to get into that a little bit more coming up next on this show. You guys, welcome to the Word on Wealth. This is Finding Joy Friday. We have the special privilege of having Buck Chavarria of the Rising Tide Ranch. Remember, a rising tide lifts all boats, and it is a Christ-centered, men-only sober living ranch and farm up in Vista, California. So we have a privilege of having Buck with us on today. Coming up next, what we're going to talk about a little bit is some of the common misconceptions that people have about homelessness, drug abuse treatment programs, and things like that. And we've got a lot of questions to ask Buck. I'm going to keep Buck on as long as he can. I'm not sure. We'll go at least another couple segments and introduce you to him and get his contact information when we come back. That's coming up next here on the Finding Joy Friday on the Word on Wealth. We'll be back in a moment.
You've got questions. We've got answers. This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com. You're saving and investing for the future, and that's good. Have you ever stopped to think, where does my money actually go? This is faith-based investing with Anthony Wright.
Most Christian families don't understand this one thing. The money that you're saving for retirement helps fund the abortion industry as well as other liberal anti-family causes. It's the sad, dirty little secret of American investing world. And here's the good news, though. You probably also didn't know that just a few minutes of your time and we'll screen and clean your investments for you. There's no cost, no obligation. Learn the truth about your own investment mix. Then the choice is yours. Remember, the word says when God's money is in the hands of the righteous, the people rejoice. Well, we also are fiduciary investment advisor representatives. That means that our firm makes a pledge to always act in your best interest. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com Download a free copy of my book, Faith-Based Investing, or call me at 931-RETIRED. And please don't forget, listen to Faith-Based Investing this weekend right here on Family Talk.
Gary, your team at GQ Law are experts at solving IRS and state tax problems. Talk about that.
When people have a tax problem, it tends to really stress them out. And one of the things we've been able to do is figure out how to resolve tax problems. One thing we might be doing is setting up a payment plan or getting a collection delay, maybe getting a determination that the person shouldn't have to pay the taxes at all. We do offers and compromise. We do audit reconsiderations. And one of the things that's a really powerful tool that some people don't recognize is sometimes bankruptcy can be used to actually eliminate taxes when there's certain conditions of the code that are met. So we can do all kinds of things. After we analyze your situation, we can figure out what's available, discuss your options, and figure out which ones to implement, what it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. And we can get people out from under all kinds of tax problems so they can sleep again. That's our goal.
Request your free initial consultation. GQLaw.com, 855-500-TRUST, GQLaw.com.
Who will you trust with the biggest financial decision of your lifetime? If you're planning to buy or sell a home in San Diego County, do what I do and work with the true San Diego real estate experts. Ken Pecos and the Pecos Group helped me and my family. They can help you. This is Gary Quackenbush of the Word on Wealth. You hear Ken every week here on the Word on Wealth. He's our expert. He's got integrity, exceptional service, deep knowledge of the San Diego, Coronado, and South Bay regions. These are just some of the reasons that Ken Pecos has completed hundreds of transactions. He manages a powerful team of professionals at the Pecos Group, from single-family attached homes to luxury high-value waterfront properties to apartment buildings. Ken Pecos is ready to help you avoid problems and costly mistakes. Learn more online at kenpecos.com. That's Ken Pecos, Pecus.com, or call 619-977-8419.
DRE number 010-56969, brokered by eXp Realty.
Tell a friend about this broadcast outreach, The Word on Wealth, with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST, GQLaw.com.
You're live.
Welcome back to the Word on Wealth. This is Gary Quackenbush and my special guest, Buck Chavarria of the Rising Tide Ranch, which is a Christ-centered men-only sober living ranch in Vista, California. Doing it right. Buck's taking care of people. He and his team there at the Rising Tide Ranch. Super cool. Buck, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I did want to have you talk a little bit about some of the misconceptions that people have about homelessness and the misconceptions that people have about drug abuse and drug abuse treatment programs and things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gary, this is a hot topic right now. Obviously, you see it on the headlines every day in the news and on TV. Such a multifaceted topic as well. But certainly from the addiction standpoint, obviously now in America, we're understanding that there is a lot more mental illness tied in with homelessness and drug addiction. And we also see that, there's a number of ways to approach getting people healthy. And so for us, we see, we place a huge emphasis on community. And so when guys are tied into a community that love them, that can really, when you start to look at any addict or any person for that matter, and start to help somebody, mentor them, better their life, you always uncover more than just is at the surface. And so many times drug addiction is just a symptom of something that's much, much deeper, whether it's past trauma or a mental illness or a dual diagnosis of some way.
Mm-hmm.
And so addiction, really, drug addiction, drug or alcohol, is really a huge symptom of a deeper problem. And a lot of times we've just recently put up 3 small little, what we call as a crisis cottage on our property, where we can help somebody that's maybe coming off the street. We're not going to solve homelessness by any means, but we certainly want to help people in need. And so we have a place that we can take somebody directly off the street and help them, because honestly, a lot of people on the streets, it's not always because of drug and alcoholism that somebody winds up homeless, but certainly if you stay an addict or an alcoholic long enough, that is where it certainly can lead to is a homeless problem. So really, that part of the homeless problem is an addiction problem,
Mm-hmm.
the drugs and alcohol. So there's a direct correlation between the two for sure.
Well said. I really appreciate that, Buck. Tell me a little bit more about Rising Tide Ranch, and so, like we had said, in the homelessness problem, drug abuse problem, that's it's all over the place. And what do we do? And you've got tent cities and tarp cities and, all these things going on, and the potential, for having, hepatitis A and B spread because of just on and on and on. And a lot of times the whole homeless problem, and I don't want to get into the theory, the whole homelessness problem, but the whole homeless problem just seems to be, it just kind of ebbs and flows, like when we see it and when we don't. But then you have a center like yours where you can help with that and help individuals kind of overcome that. I'm wondering, you're in the city of Vista, right? Does the city of Vista, does it provide you support, okay, thumbs up, go for it? Does it help with financial support? Are they supportive of what you're doing up there?
Yeah, I think the city of Vista is great. Like every municipality right now, I think everybody's trying to tackle their own homeless problem. Mm-hmm. And certainly Vista is trying to get out in front of it a little bit. They haven't supported us financially just yet, but I'm believing that they will. And but they are certainly, all the city officials have been out here, or I shouldn't say all. The mayor has been out here, city council has been out here. They appreciate what we're doing, and so they're behind us because they see that, again, the goal at Rising Tide Ranch is not to solve the homeless problem. Mm-hmm. It's to help a few overcome addiction, and in turn, impacts the homeless problem. And so the city is behind us. The county is behind us. They recognize what we're doing, and I think it's what it's going to take, without opening that can of worms, is how to solve homeless. That's a whole nother hour-long podcast that probably. But I think ultimately it comes down to people taking action, and it's really going to come down to hopefully a bunch more organizations like ours, mm-hmm. that are just people banding together, utilizing the church, being the church, and helping out small groups of people. We don't have a desire to open up a homeless camp, a safe encampment, or anything like that at this point. It's really about taking a handful of men and transforming their lives and replicating that many, many times.
Excellent. Now, can you, without getting personal or sharing confidential information, can you tell us of a success story that you've had there at Rising Tide Ranch?
Yeah. Again, we've been open just a little over 2.5 years, and leaving here today, one of the guys that helps us on the ranch, he's here with his son just yesterday, helping just take care of some of the maintenance on the yard. He was our first client. He was living in his car at the end of the driveway here to the ranch just 3 years ago. homeless, stuck in addiction, and had lost his kids. He's a father of 4 kids. His kid's mother is still out on the street, still addicted, and so was he. And so because they were parents caught in addiction, they lost their custody of their kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to our ranch through a referral of somebody. He stayed. He was unsure about this place. And here it is 2 years later. He's clean and sober. He's got his kids back. He's a single father of 4 incredible kids. And he's constantly bringing his kids by here, and they're maintaining this place and playing with the animals and constantly giving back. And so he's certainly a guy that he encourages the men that are in the program right now, and you can't see any part of his life and just praise God for and see the transformation. It's amazing.
Wow, Buck, what a success story. I love it. It's like real, things like that happens. One person at a time, him, then his kids. And that's even the legal process, going through that, trying to get kids back. What a brutal process. So, wow. Congratulations, Rising Tide Ranch. That's a fantastic success story. Way to go. And then they want to pay it forward, which is like super cool. Love it. We're talking to Buck Chavarria of Rising Tide Ranch in Vista. And if you want to get a hold of him, they have a really cool website. If you're just kind of curious, whoever did it for him did a really, really good job. It's Rising Tide Ranch CA, like California. So risingtideranchca.com. That gives you all the contact information that you would need to get a hold of Buck and his crew up there at Rising Tide Ranch. If if you have somebody you want to refer, you can go to the website. Just go to risingtideranchca.com and you can get a hold of them directly. That would be awesome. I love that success story. That was super cool. I want to know a couple different things. So government's giving you support, and then you mentioned, we could be the church for these guys. You are, there's a lot of churches around, different denominations and everything. But my understanding is that there's in Vista, you've got a pretty big congregation up there, North Coast Church in Vista. What kind of support do you get from local churches?
Yeah, sure. Great question. I would say that's probably our main support at this point. We don't receive any funds from the state or the government at this point, and that allows us some freedom to operate. And so we rely heavily on churches. If there are a bunch of believers or churches that listen to this station that maybe listen, man, that's probably our number one way is building connections and relationships and partnering alongside the church. We have churches sponsor a bed for guys that are coming in, because a lot of times, like we talked about, when you're taking in an addict, he's usually spent all of his money, and he's usually burned all of his bridges. And so a lot of times a church will sponsor a bed for $1,200, and that allows a guy to get here, heal, get settled in, and then part of our program is you get back to work. And we have some job skills that we love to teach here. And then we even have some placement with some guys. But North Coast Church, we're directly across the street. We're within walking distance. A lot of great churches, North Coast Calvary, Coast City Church in Oceanside. So many great partnerships have been formed. And for us, we really feel like addiction's a huge problem within the church.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's just not enough resources or within the church. And so we want to be a resource to our local body as well.
Now, if somebody did want to get involved, maybe there's a local pastor. This show is being broadcast on K-Praise, which is one of the largest Christian stations in the United States, which is just super awesome. So we do have the ability to reach quite a large audience of our Christian followers and believers. So if somebody, let's say like individually, if somebody individually they really wanted to do something about it, tell us what somebody could do individually. Or if somebody maybe were involved with a church, whether they're a lay pastor or a pastor, whatever, how can people get involved in helping support Rising Tide Ranch?
2 minutes.
Oh, wow. They could go to our website, certainly, and reach out to us there. a number of ways. We're constantly, we've got a couple of capital campaigns. We're building a farm stand right now. And so guys could help support that. That's going to create some sustainability for our programs here at the ranch. They could sponsor a bed for $1,200. They could reach out on our website and we could make that start with that personal connection and partnership there. We have intern opportunities where if there are people or lay pastors or men in the church that want to disciple men, these guys here, man, we ship here all the time. So if they just want to learn more on how to start their own recovery ministry in their church, we would love to help them with that. But I would say the number one way, if they wanted to get involved today, would be to reach out via email or check our website and get in touch with us there.
Okay.
There are a number of ways. If they're local, we have a work day once a month where people from all churches come out and we just do farm projects and guys work side by side with each other in their church and alongside our men here. And so that's a once a month opportunity. We also do a Bible study out here on Wednesday. If somebody just wants to come out and see what the ranch is about, they could do that at 5:30 on a Wednesday.
All right. This is Buck Chavarria, is the founder and the owner of the Rising Tide Ranch. We're talking to him today. We have the privilege of having him on the show with us. We're going to be talking more with him. He's sticking around with us to the top of the hour. We really appreciate that. When we come back, the next thing I'm going to talk about a little bit more, I'm going to get a little more into the monthly workday and how do we get involved in that. You're listening to the Finding Joy Friday on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We're here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST. You're not alone. Ask for the legal help you need. Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500.
You're live.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Finding Joy Friday on the Word on Wealth. We are broadcasting this show in a couple of places, like all over the place. And if you want to re-listen to it, you can go to any podcast platform and just search for Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. It's pretty obvious it's me, but Word on Wealth, and you can revisit this show. You can learn more about Rising Tide Ranch and hear it again here. Or if the other way would be, just go to the website, risingtideranchca.com. Just remember that a rising tide lifts all boats. I just have a feeling that has something to do with what they do there at Rising Tide Ranch. Okay, so Buck, I am, let's see, my question, we were talking about the monthly workday. So here's my question. Let's say that somebody thought, gee whiz, I'm not sure what to do about the homelessness situation, except for complain about it and say, ooh, that's yucky because we just talk about it, whatever. And then they say, I would love to just provide something. I've got a checkbook here. I want to know if there's an organization out there that's doing a good job helping one person at a time. And it just happens to be Rising Tide Ranch. Could they just send you money if they wanted to?
Man, thank you, Gary. Great question. That's one of the things that is always a struggle for us, is constantly raising money through donations. And absolutely, that is one of the greatest needs that we have right now. So they could go to our website, risingtideranchca.com, go to the Donate Now button and click on there. We need monthly partners. We need one-time givers. Anything big or small. $1,200 sponsors a man to come in. We hate to have to turn away somebody because they've spent all their money and burnt all their bridges. And so we sponsor guys on the ranch until they can get on their feet, or certainly we have in the past. In case somebody's listening, we don't sponsor everybody, but when we have the ability through our financial partners to sponsor somebody, when people give, we're able to allow more guys onto the ranch. And so we rely on donations. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and that helps us move forward and help men in North County.
Okay. So you guys all know then, as a tax attorney here, if you do make a contribution to a 501c3, that's a special nonprofit designation, that it is a tax deductible contribution. So if you got some money and you want to help out, I mean, the best way to help out the homeless problem, the drug abuse problem, the people that need to recover, that just want their life back. There's so many mental health issues surrounding that. We could do shows for weeks on this, but the best way is literally open your pocketbook. And if you're going to donate $25, that gets a guy into the ranch. If you want to donate $2,500, it'll get 100 in there. 25,000 will get 1,000 in there. And then Buck's going to call us and say, dude, we're overfilled. Don't send any more money. That'll never happen, right?
That, you know what, that's a great point that you make, is the more that we raise, the more guys we're able to help, the greater the impact. And really, because we don't rely on government assistance, it allows us to really treat and heal people. I forgot to tell you, on our Tuesday night, our guys get together. We make about 40 meals, and our guys that are here on the ranch will go back down onto the streets of Vista, Oceanside, and go and serve the homeless. And what that does, it builds relationships with guys on the street. And it also allows our guys and all of us here to remember that we're just one or two decisions away from being back out on the street.
Okay.
And so
I think that is the coolest thing. I'm going to stop you before you're done, because that is the coolest thing ever. You talk about paying it forward, because we say that sometimes, kind of give it a little lip service, like pay it forward, pay it forward. That right there is the example. And that is just super cool. I love that. So these guys at Rising Tide Ranch, they're doing better. You guys make food and you go and distribute it. That is super cool. Now,
absolutely.
Let's say that somebody decided, hey, I would love to get involved. That Tuesday handing out the food thing sounds pretty cool. Is that something they would also go to the website, contact you and say, I'd love to get involved here. I want to go hand out food. I want to help make food. Is that all available for people?
Absolutely. We love
Okay.
to partner with people and to show them how easy it is to give back and take care of their community. So you would go to our website, go to the contact us, say, hey, I want to be involved. And we would figure out, what we do is we run you through a training, and then we bring you along with us on a Tuesday night. And it's really about introducing people or the church into how easy it is to really love your city, whether it's in Vista or Oceanside or San Diego, Chula Vista, wherever, and teaching people how to be the church and really engage in the homeless problem, because we believe that it's really going to be solved by the church. It's not a government issue, even though we're spending bazillions of dollars in the government that has not figured out how to solve it. It's really going to be taken care of by people who are going to take care of people.
Interesting. One by one. I have a friend of mine is homeless. He's been homeless for a long time, and he has this really interesting attitude about, he goes and gets his money however he does, and asking people for donations or monies or whatever, and then he ends up he hands it out because he's kicked all of his drug habits and weed smoking and everything, and he's like clean and sober, and he's still out there, hitting the streets, collecting money, and he goes and he gives it to these other guys and helps them out as long as they agree with him that they're going to stop using drugs. It's so interesting. And I think when you, like these guys that you got up at Rising Tide, it's like they've been there, they know exactly what it's like and how incredibly difficult it is to pull yourself up and get over it. I just love that they can reach out and help the community. And I know people listening, there are a lot of ministers that have their own shows on the not on Word on Wealth, I wish, but on KPRZ. And so there's a lot of churches. In fact, we do a pastor's appreciation breakfast like every October. And it's one of these things. I'll talk to you about that more, but it would be kind of cool to have, more ministers in the community. There's just a lot. We do, this pastor appreciation breakfast, KPRZ and KCBQ does it. And we have lots and lots and lots of ministers that come. And I just think sometimes they're looking for different opportunities, and, setting something up like this is fantastic. And we need more. We need more. We need to get more people on your ranch. We need more people like you. This is fantastic. So you guys want to get involved with the Rising Tide Ranch? The way to do it is there's multiple ways. Go to their website, risingtideranchca.com. There's a contact link. There's a get involved link. There's a day-to-day what's going on link. There's a home, and it shows a little bit about what the Rising Tide Ranch in Vista, California is all about. So this is really, really cool. I have more questions for you. I have just a slew of questions.
Come on.
You're an interesting guy. Now, where are you originally from?
I was born right here at Tri-City Hospital in Vista, or in Oceanside, and so grew up right around the corner.
Okay.
And but I did spend about 22 years in Colorado, in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and I have a background in skateboard ministry. So as a skateboarder and a surfer, we launched a ministry called Skate.
Nice.
You can still look that up, Steamboat Skate Church, and it's still running today. And so I have a background in pastoring a lot of guys from just this parachurch world and skateboarders and snowboarders, and creating a place for guys to find Jesus, but maybe not in the confines of a church building. And so when we came back out here, this just kind of has unfolded. We do a lot of leadership training in the skate ministry and surf ministry, still helping people kind of unleash their passion for people, whatever their passion is. We help them bring Jesus into that and launch their own ministries like we did with Skate Church.
This is so cool. I love it. We are talking to Buck Chavarria of the Rising Tide Ranch. He made it with his wife, Tara. They're wonderful people. Of course, there's a big place in heaven for you guys with a cushy cloud. Of course, you'd never do that. You're just going to go, nope. If I go to heaven, I'm going to work. I'm going to keep working. He's a good man. We got Buck here. We're going to keep him to the top of the hour. He's from Rising Tide Ranch in Vista, California, which is a Christ-centered men-only sober living ranch. And their goal is to get people off the street, keep people off the street, get them off drugs, keep them off drugs, help them find Jesus Christ and the good word. And he's doing it one by one by one. This is fantastic. What we're going to talk about when we come back, I'm going to talk about let's see, where are we going to go? I'm going to ask him for one more success story. So that'll give you a little bit of time to think about that. And then I want a little bit more about your background and how that kind of got you into what you're doing. And then I have one more big question for you. And I'm going to ask that coming up next right here on the Word on Wealth on Finding Joy Friday.
You've got questions. We've got answers. This is the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Gary, how do you and your team help our listeners avoid probate?
Well, first of all, probate is a process that involves attorneys, judges, and sometimes contesting parties. And so we try to avoid probate at pretty much all costs. The way we do that is setting up living trusts, setting up properly documented wills, putting the property like houses, cars, bank accounts in that trust so that it avoids probate. Probate is only necessary if the estate plan isn't set up quite right. So we help them get it set up right. And mainly that's done through a properly created living trust.
Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs, call or click to request your free initial consultation. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
Tell a friend about this broadcast outreach, The Word on Wealth, with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. This is the Word on Wealth Finding Joy Friday edition, and we've got Buck Chavarria from the Rising Tide Ranch in Vista, which is a Christ-centered men-only sober living ranch right here in Vista, California. And Buck's been at this for a while, helping people get rehabbed and back on their feet and stay in there. And I loved it. In the beginning of the show, he was telling a story about a guy that was there and didn't have his children because he was messed up with drugs and alcohol, and so was his wife. And so the children got taken away, but he successfully rehabbed. He still works at the ranch. He's got his kids back, which is a phenomenal legal undertaking in and of itself. But the fact that he did that, I mean, that kind of success story, that's what we hear from Rising Tide Ranch. We love it. Absolutely love it. Buck, I did want to, some of the things that you do. So you are, you use the term, like we were talking about, you say that what's going to help is the church. And you're using it in more of a generic term, like you're not specifically denominational. You're using church as basically a group of people that believe in Jesus Christ and his atonement and his works that he's done. Does that sound about right?
The big C.
The big C. Excellent.
The big C church. Absolutely. You and me.
Okay.
And yeah, and I think that's huge because so many people don't know how qualified they are, and really, without a doubt, believing that we are God's plan to save. Right? I mean, He chose us and sent us on mission to go and love the world so that they could see Him. And without preaching too much, I think so many people, even that go to church, certainly in my experience, that are going to a church on a Sunday, have a heart to serve, but just don't know where or how. And so we love to make it real easy, plug and play, come to the ranch, learn about who we are, what we do, and jump in and serve somewhere, whatever your gifts are. Love teaching people, love others. Certainly, whether they're the addicted or the homeless or the lonely or the broken, the lost, you name it, we want to give you a place to serve.
Excellent. I love that. So you can go, you guys, anybody that's listening, it's a 501c3 organization. If you're wondering, hey, how can I get, this does motivate people. I'm sure Buck knows that, but it's like, sometimes you go, okay, I want to make a charitable contribution because that'll help my tax bill. It'll get me down into the different tax bracket. 501c3 Rising Tide Ranch qualifies, and you can give a donation. It's going to be a tax deductible donation. Of course, it shows up in your Schedule A, but it can be deducted, and that's a big thing for some people. If you just want to give money out of the goodness of your heart, you don't care about the deduction. That's another thing as well. It doesn't cost a lot to get a guy in there. It does cost a lot to keep the ranch open, and so they can accept any donations that you're willing to give. I love the $1,200 to sponsor a bed thing. That's pretty cool. Hey, Buck,
yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
how many people?
It's been great seeing people do that.
And how many? So how many beds do you have that are sponsorable? And then, like, how many people live on the ranch on any given day?
Yeah, so we've got a space for 12 guys, and I think we've got 3 beds sponsored right now. And so one of the great ways that an example, another story is we have a guy that brought somebody from the streets, off the streets, and said, hey, can you help this guy? And so I let him know about the $1,200 a month to sponsor, and he went to his men's group. And so his men's group got together and sponsored a bed. And what that did is it buys investment. So when a guy comes onto the ranch and he is sponsored by a men's group, though he knows he's got a guy praying, a group of men that are praying for him. And then I encourage that men's group to come and be alongside of him, mentor him. And so it's a great way for guys to get together, get their small group together, get their men's group together, and sponsor a bed. And it's really, when we split it between a bunch of people, many hands make light work.
Terrific. I love that. Now, you were talking about, you believe in the holistic approach to, achieving victory and kind of getting people over their addictions and helping them get through that monumental task of getting things straightened out. So you believe in the body, mind, and spirit, a lot of focus on the spirit. But tell me about the physical aspect of what you have them do on the ranch. How does that play into their recovery? And because you said there's a pool for skating, and you've got other physical activities. Talk about that a little bit, about how physical activity and being outside, how that helps people kind of get success and some of the remediation of their mental health.
Yeah, sure. I think one of the things, we've got a full gym on the property. And so guys oftentimes will trade, I say, if you're going to trade one addiction for another, working out is a great one to pick up. So guys can get in the gym. We've also, everything here is based around community. We've got a community fire pit out here in the center of our property where guys, almost every night of the week, seems to be somebody having a fire and sitting around with other guys. We've got a rec room Guys can shoot pool, play darts. It's got a small coffee bar in it. It's got a big TV. So even though on our farm or on the ranch, there's like 3 little dwellings that men live in different houses.
Okay.
So we have one central space with a rec room where guys can get together. The physical aspect of just being outdoors, being with the animals. We have an axe throwing station. Guys can go and throw axes. Just connecting with the outdoors and nature and a little bit of agriculture and that, kind of country life, but still being close enough to Vista and Oceanside where you can still, get to town and get to work. It's a pretty unique spot for that. But also so that's that physical, right? That body,
Great.
that mind. I think every guy here, the first week, we just say, hey, would you just eat well, drink well, and rest? So we've got a food pantry that we operate out of here. Because of our nonprofit, we help not only families or not only the men on the ranch, but local families and our neighbors here. We have a big food pantry where guys have access to food. In their rent includes, there's steaks in the freezer right now. There's chicken breasts in the freezer. There's fresh fruits and vegetables that these guys can go and eat and drink as much as they want. And so we don't cook it for them because that's not real life. They have to learn to cook and take care of themselves. But they can certainly grill out here. We've got a smoker and a barbecue. The men that come here are blown away, especially if they come from a lot of other sober livings or a lot of the system, whether it's incarceration or a halfway house or a treatment center. It's different. The guys that come through here see the uniqueness and the community aspect. And so it really creates this holistic approach to them getting healthy and connected with healthy people.
2 minutes.
Well, Buck, I really appreciate you painting the picture that you did of Rising Tide Ranch. It's really cool. You've done a great job on your website. You've done a great job with your explanation. You're passionate about what you're doing. You're helping people find Jesus Christ. You're helping people find the way basically to get out from under addiction. I'm so grateful that you're able to come on the show today on our Finding Joy Friday. It's funny, we talk about money every day except for Fridays, and Fridays are always my favorite day. And it's consistently people will tell me, yeah, I listen to your show. We listen all the time. And Friday's my favorite day because we get to hear about people like you who are out there making a difference, sacrificing in your own way, great business people, setting up this organization that you have, all the technical aspects. That's, I'm like looking at that going, dude, you did it right. That's so cool.
Documents.
You got everything like set up right. You got everybody, all the legal stuff done. Your ranch looks good. I think you're doing a great job. You are to be commended, my friend, for doing this Rising Tide Ranch. Okay, I'm going to give you 20 seconds and give us kind of a pep talk about Rising Tide Ranch. Go.
Oh, man. Well, here's the deal. First off, you need to come out and see it physically, and I'd love to have you out and buy you lunch and give you the tour. But if you're listening to this and you're anywhere in Southern California or around the country, if you are wanting to get into that recovery space, whether it's helping an addict, helping get involved with solving homelessness, or whether it's in your church, in your family, or maybe just overcoming an addiction in your own life, we want you to go to our website. We want you to connect with us. We really believe we're building something here in North County, San Diego.
About a minute now.
To be unique, sober living, but it is going to be something that is going to change this part of the country in our approach to community, addiction, homelessness, and action sports. We want you to be able to come here and find what you're looking for. So please get in touch with us. We need your support, certainly your prayers, but please go to our website and connect with us. We want to connect with you.
There you have it. Buck Chavarria of Rising Tide Ranch, Rising Tide Ranch, CA.com, a 501c3 organization. You can get involved with your pocketbook or physically. You can sponsor, you can help out. This place is rocking it and helping people get over the homelessness issue and over their addictions and get back into being productive members of society, which always makes us feel wonderful. Buck, thank you very much. Say hi to Tara for us. You did a great job today. Appreciate it. Look forward to having you on again. Take care, everybody. Bye, Buck.
Thanks, Barry. Happy Friday, bro.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Tell a friend about the Word on Wealth, featured since 1995, with financial solutions attorney Gary Quackenbush, an expert in estate planning, wills and trusts, and tax problem solving. Gary is past president of the California Society of Tax Consultants. Reach out to us. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. The information you hear on the Word on Wealth is for general information purposes only. This program discusses general financial and legal topics. Seek legal advice from a competent lawyer for your individual legal needs. The opinions expressed here do not necessarily represent the views of Salem Media Group or its sponsors.
The airing of this program by this
Have a good weekend.